Welcome to the Forest Service Planning Process Guide, presented by the National Off-Highway Vehicle Conservation Council. It's always helpful to have a basic understanding of any process in which you're going to be involved. The Forest Service Planning Process provides the basic planning structure for the route designation effort. This module will provide you with a very brief overview of the existing planning process and will help you be more effective when you get involved. This is a summary of a class that normally takes 40 hours to complete. Understanding the planning process is important because the world is run by those who show up. You need to show up in order to be effective. Let's have a look at an overview of the Forest Service planning process. Decision authority within the Forest Service is placed at the lowest levels of the agency. Involvement needs to start at the ranger districts. Planning decisions are subject to the National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA. The Forest Service uses a tiered system of planning. Let's look at the different planning levels. The strategic documents set the general or strategic direction for the forest, ranger district, or project area. They do not authorize specific actions or projects. The forest land management plans are strategic in nature. Site-specific projects are the projects that result in a specific action or ground-disturbing activity. It may be as simple as building a segment of trail. This type of analysis looks at the specific impacts of a ground-disturbing action or activity. Another example of a site-specific project is the travel management plan. The plan may not authorize ground disturbance, but it does make site-specific decisions such as route designations. A good way to visualize the planning process is to look at it as a triangle. The left side is project identification. The right side is the NEPA process. And the bottom is the feedback or evaluation part. Start with a triangle of equal sides. That's an equilateral triangle for those who remember their high school geometry. Without changing the total length of the sides or moving the lower corners, you extend the left side of the triangle. This automatically reduces the right side of the triangle. The Forest Service is placing emphasis on the left side of the triangle to reduce the amount of time, money, and energy it has to spend on the NEPA process. If interested parties agree up front what should be done, there will be less chance for challenges or lawsuits. By not spending time trying to make the document bulletproof, the Forest Service can put more effort into the analysis. The left side of the triangle is the plan to project side, or what happens before NEPA begins. This is where the desired conditions or the results are identified. This is the project's vision. This is also where you look at the specific needs to be addressed. Do you need to improve water quality? Do you need to enhance recreation opportunities? You will take a look at some of the many ways you might achieve the desired results and/or meet the identified needs. You'll also review the existing planning decisions and direction that could influence what you want to do. This is the information gathering phase of the planning process. This is also where collaboration between the agency and the stakeholders takes place. The end result is a refined project that will then move to the right side of the triangle, the NEPA analysis. As enthusiasts who are involved in the process, we need to make sure we describe what we want in our road and trail system. For instance, the quantity and quality of the roads and trails and vehicle types that will use the system, etc. We must identify and inventory specific roads, trails, and areas. And we must work through the collaborative process to develop understanding and to identify win-win opportunities. Now let's talk a bit about the right side of the triangle, or the NEPA process. NEPA is an analysis process. It requires the agency to analyze the effects of their planned actions or projects. And it's required for every federal action. NEPA requires some level of public involvement. This is your opportunity to become involved in the process. As you begin to get involved in any NEPA process, there are several things you need to know. Levels of analysis vary based on the significance of the action and the degree of controversy. The most comprehensive and complicated document is the Environmental Impact Statement, or EIS. It's used for the more significant or controversial projects. Many times, OHV use is so controversial that an EIS is prepared. The environmental assessment is used as a mid-range analysis process. The categorical exclusion, or CE, is used for the smaller projects. Some CEs can be appealed, and some cannot. In the rest of this module, we will talk about the steps in the process. You need to understand each level of analysis and stage of the process in order to have your involvement efforts be effective. This chart shows the general steps in each of the levels of analysis. Each analysis starts with a proposal. It may be that a company wants to build a ski area, or perhaps an OHV club proposes to build a new trail, or maybe the Forest Service wants to develop a campground. It really doesn't matter what the proposal is. Just having a proposal starts the process. The first time you're invited to comment is during scoping. This is where the Forest Service collects initial information about the project. Scoping can be either internal from agency specialists or external from the public and other agencies. Based on information received during scoping, they will make an initial determination of the potential significance of the impacts of the projects. If they determine there will be a significant impact, an EIS will be prepared. This will include a notice of intent published in the Federal Register. It will also include a draft environmental impact statement sent out for comments, a final EIS that will respond to comments, and a record of decision. If they're unsure if the impacts will be significant, they will prepare an environmental assessment. If they find that the impacts are or may be significant, they will shift to an EIS. If not, they will complete a finding of no significant impact, or FONSI. After 30 days for comments, they can issue a decision notice. For simple projects, they can prepare a categorical exclusion. The details of these may vary. Some require documentation in a case file, and some do not. Some can be appealed, and some cannot. The end result is the issuance of a decision memo.